we're gonna talk about indoor drone photography and video. Yeah.
Is
So-
it dangerous?
Is it dangerous? What are some of the things to consider? Some of the risks. So we'll see how many of these guys
I have a funny story.
can we scare away actually, and we'll talk some funny stories and some indoor shoots that we were in. So let's talk about some of the challenges first, or things that are different. Not necessarily a step-by-step instructions, but things that can be a surprise. I think that one of the things way before I would be willing to bring the drone indoors, unless it's like a tiny micro, some serious equipment. I'm talking like the Phantoms or the Inspire, size drones. I'd make sure I know how to pilot it outdoors.
Yeah.
Really, really, really well, because it's one of the challenges is that you don't have all the helpers that you get outside. When you don't get the GPS all the time indoors.
Okay.
You may get it sometimes, but then it's in and out.
Yeah.
It's gotten.
I wouldn't even
It's
rely on that.
It's gotten better. Yeah, no. So you can't rely on the GPS. Now, you have the VPS,
Yep.
the Vision Positioning System, that you can actually use. That works really well,
Not all the time.
but it doesn't work all the time. Yeah, I've had cases where I had to fly, say, over water indoors, and oh my god, or dark
Wait a
spaces,
minute.
dark shiny spaces. Oh, dude, it does the same thing it does outdoors.
Over water indoors.
Over water
Like
indoors.
at a high school pool.
Yeah,
Like where else
I do
does
not
that
fly.
exist?
I do not fly at high school pools. My God.
Where else does
I'm
indoor
pretty sure
and-
people would get arrested for that. But no, where it was Jordan's, one of the furniture store shoots.
Oh, they have water
And
in there?
yeah, in it. So the store, the large furniture store, they're like these fancy furniture stores, and every one of them has this attraction. So the one in New Haven, Connecticut here has this thing called It, and it's a giant jungle gym for people, adults, kids. There's like zip lines. There are these things you can 3-4 story structures you can climb up
Right.
and down, and you like harness to it. So in theory, nothing can happen to you. But I don't know. I wouldn't do it. But we were there
I
to
wanna
film
do
it.
it.
So we're filming that with the drone, and in order, of course, I could. So we did fly through the jungle gym with the Inspire in the 2-operator, but it's pretty much just like up and down, kind of threading needles, to that. But they wanted to film the talent going down the zip line from across the whole room, and it's dark, and in the middle they have a kind of like a big rectangle pool with a fountain. It's a singing fountain, so it kind of goes to the rhythm
Oh,
of the
cool.
music, and it changes colors.
Like Las Vegas.
Yeah, like a smaller, like a New Haven version of that, the Bellagio fountain that you're talking about. Yeah, more colorful though. I got to give that to them. So the zip line's going right over that, right? So
Yeah.
I had to
Wow.
fly over water, and it was like a dark marble too, so it's all shiny to the drone, and that was unpredictable. At some points, I had a VPS. I had to shut it off quickly because the thing would just rise up on its own. Like you would hold the throttle down, the drone's still going up for a few feet until like stabilize. It was all kinds of confused. So very similar to the obstacle avoidance on obstacle sensing. I think it's useless indoors because it doesn't let you fly anywhere. In a way, it could be more dangerous actually because it stops the drone dead in its tracks.
And then it might make it react in a way that's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Like it
but-
gets somewhere and then it starts to pull away and it's actually getting closer to something else.
Yeah, but unless you have like a huge amount of real estate indoors, you're shooting in like a hangar or a big a big industrial kind of setting. You'll always find yourself having to clear doors and beams and God knows what else, furniture and
How about a chandelier?
a chandelier. Yeah, umbrella. I had to clear $20,000 umbrellas indoors on this furniture store shoot. They're like, "Oh, be careful! This is $18,000." I was like, "Okay, moving on." But so you don't wanna. These things will stop the drone from moving every time you get even close to them, and it's annoying. It ruins the shot. Sometimes you do these longer tracking shots, and you don't want this thing stopping. You want it stopping when you want to.
Right.
Yeah. You can still have obstacle sensing. You can have it beep when it's getting close to something to alert you, but I wouldn't have the drone stop. So
No.
you're down to the attitude mode pretty much, and better know how to fly well. Yeah. Also, the bigger the machine, the more mess it makes. So what you're flying, that may not even be, a mess, meaning things that are you're flying over. That could be all the dust that collected on pretty much everything in the space that you're flying in that nobody has gotten to over the years. It's just gonna go, up in the air. So I think scouting is important, and
Yes.
kind of managing the expectations, making sure that the client knows. Say again back to the furniture stores, but we literally had a crew that was going ahead of us, and they were taking all the tags off, or they were just tucking them in, and taking all the decorations like the flyers on the tables and stuff, because all that stuff would go flying. And we were still leaving. We're flying an Inspire, inside. So
Oh my
it
goodness.
was still a carnage. There were like pillows flying, and you wouldn't believe how many things can a prop wash from an Inspire actually make fly. That was funny. We had these. There's gonna be some preparation before you're actually, and that can ruin your shot if you're not sure.
Scouting is definitely key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next challenge: camera settings
Indoors.
indoors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about white balance.
White balance is one of them. So what do you do with white balance inside?
You have to identify something white and make it look white in your camera.
Yeah. Trust your eyes. That's what I do. I mean, there are all kinds of.
Usually it's going to be cooler though on indoors.
Yeah. You can do gray card. You can do a lot of things,
yeah,
but
gray card, yeah.
and it depends. It depends what kind of light you're dealing with. If it's the like more warmer light, yellowish light, then you're probably better off toning it down a little bit. If it's a really cool like industrial light, it's just play with it. Trust your eyes. Look at the white surfaces and see if they look white. Yeah.
Usually, when you go indoor,
advice.
when you're indoors, it's like yellow, so you have to cool it.
It depends.
Like anytime
Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah. It really depends.
Yeah.
If you're in an industrial setting, you'll have these like white lights that are really cool and
True.
everything. When we did the go-kart thing,
Yeah,
they had
oh,
these
right.
industrial, like really white, bright lights, and that everything looked so cool in that shoot. I used it actually to our advantage because the whole track was blue anyway. So I was like, let's blue it up. So white balance is one of the things. Another thing to consider is the exposure, because you... Obviously, it usually comes with a little more like challenging conditions.
Yeah.
Especially if you're flying indoors and you're looking indoor out.
You're usually getting
Yeah, so you're
okay.
flying a real estate job for some reason, or you're flying inside anywhere wherever there are windows. Now you're inside of the room, and where it's darker, and you're looking at the bright window in the back. So it's kind of keeping that balance. So setting your camera right. That's one of the things that I would recommend practicing actually, and see what it does. See what ISO you can get away with. That's another thing, because just leaving things in outdoor doesn't really work in most of the indoor shoots. It will just crank things out to the point where it's not gonna be nice, especially if it's working for the client. Yeah. So getting the exposure right, making sure you know what you can get away with when pushing the camera in the low light conditions. All right, that's it about challenges, really.
Yeah, I guess that does cover all of it.
That does cover all of it.
What about if there was a lot of
magnetic interference?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
What about like something with a lot of steel structures? Because I was just
That's
asked
difficult.
on the job down in New Jersey
Yeah.
to fly underneath the house that they had just lifted up.
Yeah.
And in order to lift it up, they had to put these 50-foot, 1 foot like thick steel beams underneath it.
Yep.
And then
Didn't work out for you.
no, I didn't even try.
Because the compass, it's gonna grab the compass, and some of the newer units are a little more resilient in that way with the visual compass and all that. When they rely on a VPS, if the compass gets compromised, but of course these machines do rely in knowing what they're heading and what the heading of the camera is on the compass working right. So if it's a building where you can have a problem is, say floors with a lot of rebar in them, or, standing on a steel floors. We literally were standing on like these steel catwalks and bridges, or in the buildings that are just packed that are nothing but steel and a little bit of concrete, really. And you can do one of a few things, actually. You can start a drone outside. You can turn it on outside in a parking lot, and then you can bring it inside of the building. We've done that before.
Yeah.
You can also find an elevated spot where the interference may not be as much of an issue, meaning starting the drone up on the top of the case, on the top of two cases, on the top of a case, on the top of two chairs, or different combinations. It again, there's no one advice. You have to be creative with it, but that is something to be really careful about.
Yeah.
Scary world in there.
I've had some close calls with steel beams nearby.
One advantage, though, the FAA rules do not apply.
Exactly. So you can go to like JFK, New York City, and in a hangar, you're good.
Yeah.
Flying right over 747.
Dude, I flew inside. I flew inside of a store. It was a building supply, and it was literally a couple thousand feet from the end of the runway at Newark.
Wow.
Yeah, you're indoors.
Did you have to do anything to
No, it gave me
trick
warning.
the geozone?
No. It gave me
Geofence?
warning. It still let me fly, but I think it limited me. It said it was limiting to 50 feet or whatever. All I needed was like 30.
The typical.
Yeah, but it wasn't. The building wasn't even that tall on the inside, so we were literally just fly. The idea was to show the product, the merch. So you need 8 feet. So that's one nice thing about it, if there is a nice thing about it. But high risk of crash, yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was in San Francisco during Christmas, I was out there and we were doing a drone shoot for a building. Well, it wasn't even a drone shoot because there was an issue with the proximity to the airport.
Yeah.
But we did fly a Mavic on the indoors, and it had a lot of steel beams inside.
Yeah.
And there was something going on with how high it would let you go based on how far away the floor was. So there was a stairwell that I was trying to fly over, and if I got over the lower end of the staircase, it wouldn't let me move at all. I had to go back to where I came.
Maybe the VPS lost it?
It was VPS.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Did you try disabling it and just seeing, and did that fix that problem?
no.
Good question. I don't know. I'd have to be there.
Okay.
Honestly,
Well,
I can make something up real quick.
yeah, do
but,
that. Just make it up.
It's a mystery. Was it an older building? Was it haunted?
No.
No
It's a
possibility.
state-of-the-art building.
Not sure, man.
Oh, well.
Yeah. All right. So what were you doing inside of that? So that was your indoor shoot? Was that a
No, that's
what
not
was
my
the
only
project?
indoor shoot, but that was the most frustrating indoor shoot.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
What was your most fun indoor shoot?
The most fun was it was the wedding banquet hall, Woodwinds down in Brantford, Connecticut.
Oh, cool.
And
Pretty
so-
place.
Yeah, it's gorgeous there.
Yeah. Were you asked not to ruin the $50,000 paintings on the wall?
No, they were asking me not to ruin the. I don't know how expensive it was, but one of those very elaborate, elegant chandeliers. And so they had. It was like you walk into a mansion and they have the winding staircase on both sides of the room, and the chandelier in the middle. So I was supposed to keep the chandelier in frame for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And then fly outside. They were going to open the doors.
Yeah.
And it was just me, a PA,
Yeah.
which is a production assistant, and the director,
Yeah.
excuse me, on set. So we had
Yeah.
no other help. So I was like, okay, I guess you guys just stand out in front of the building, and I'm going to shout as loud as I can, open the door, and hopefully I won't, smack into it and you guys hear me.
Yeah.
And I won't hit the chandelier. And it actually came out really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. What was the scariest indoor shoot that you've been on? Or the most bizarre?
The most bizarre?
Yep.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I haven't really had any bizarre ones, I don't think.
We had a couple bizarre ones.
I did. Okay, well, hang on.
Yeah.
So at that same location, this is funny. So I was really trying to hone my piloting skills.
Yeah.
This was very early on when I got started with drones. So I was like, okay, I see a nice little 2 foot by 2 foot opening outside. So I'm going to do like a cool tracking. I'm going to do descending and then move over the patio equipment that was outside and then just pigeonhole this thing like right through it.
Yep.
And I got 2 nice shots and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do one more just to make sure I get a nice one. And of course, that was the one that I crashed.
Oh, no. Did you crash into like the side of the hull, like the frame?
So
or?
the landing gear caught about an inch below. the bottom of that 2 foot by 2 foot box. The torque, this is the funny part though.
Yeah.
The torque from the propellers made it rotate 90 degrees forward so hard that it launched the battery like 20 feet.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
No damage to the drone at all,
Wow.
except for the props. That was it.
So it just ejected a battery, and that, I guess, just cuts the motors
Yeah.
off. Nice.
Yeah.
Lucky. I wonder if that was like a built-in feature. So that was the third time you were flying it through?
Yeah, like I had no reason to do it.
Were you trying to do it faster, or were
Yeah,
you like,
I think so.
it's like, let me see if I can do this more dramatic.
Didn't know anything
Bam.
about.
Well, you got dramatic.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no damage. So at least there is a fun story to tell. I had this. There were a couple bizarre indoor flights, shoots that
Yeah?
we were. Yeah. And you know what? Like this, the most bizarre one was. I can say it's a secret where it was. It was in a large
Was it a
space.
nuclear
no,
missile
you can't
silo?
even. Yeah, I honestly can't say where this was, but.
Oh,
That's,
sorry.
That's okay. That doesn't take away from the story anyway. Imagine a hangar. That's
Okay.
like a huge, huge, huge space. A hangar. That's, I don't know. And I'm not talking like a little airport hangar. I'm talking hangar. You could probably fit a couple jumbos in it
Oh my goodness.
side by side.
This is a very
two.
large hangar.
A large hangar, yeah. And they were doing this fire suppression system test. So, and the way you do that, in a hangar like this, you tarp the whole thing off, like 25 feet, 30 feet up, creating this huge tub. And there are these receptacles, these big square receptacles up, on the ceiling. And then they just pull the lever and watch what happens. And the idea, the test was to see if it fills the whole hangar 25 feet deep in foam in under 5 minutes or 6 minutes or something like that. It was like a timed test.
That's ridiculous.
So we were in this little cutout. There was literally a window cut out for us on this catwalk, in the tarp. And that's where I had to roll up this plastic trash can, one of those big trash cans, up against the railing so I can have a launch spot for the drone. And once they pulled the lever, that was back then, it was a long time ago. It was with my 550 and
I've
the GoPro.
seen that video.
Yeah, I showed you the video.
There was a lot of yellow in that, right? For some
Yeah,
reason?
oh, yeah,
I don't remember
yeah.
what the yellow was.
I still didn't know what I was doing with the white balance indoors.
No, I'm just trying to imagine the
there was a lot of
interior of the
foam.
room.
So you're basically flying in between these huge plumes of foam coming from the ceiling, just
wow.
filling this huge space, and it was so bizarre. The whole thing turned into this. Dude, it was ginormous. A ginormous tub. It had like a waves and like swirls of foam, and there was little chunks of foam flying all over the place, and it was so much fun. It was so much
sounds
fun.
awesome.
It was bizarre. So that's the most bizarre one. The most stressful one was the Good Morning America studios.
Oh,
The
I
coffee.
don't think I would even attempt that.
The coffee delivery drone. Oh my God, that was a high stress one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had to fly. That's the only way I can say that I was able to legally fly in Times Square, actually, because there was the
okay.
ABC studios in Times Square for Good Morning America. And we did a coffee delivery drone, we did the announcer drone, we did so much stuff.
That's
It's
so
like
funny.
3 days just flying drones in confined spaces, full of electronics, metal, all kinds of people. What can go wrong? But we had a blast. We had a real blast.
How long had you been flying drones when you did that?
2 years.
Oh, really?
Year. Yeah,
Okay.
because that was well into the magazine times, and the podcast was already
You got to have
on.
some skill to pull that off.
We actually talked about, and yeah, it was me, Joe, and Eric, so like the magazine crew,
Oh, right.
Yeah. That's why we were the experts.
You had them fooled pretty well.
We had them full. No, actually, we did well. We didn't have any incidents. We were able to pull it off, but man, it's that stressful. It's just high pressure. Things can go wrong with these things.
I'd be
and-
white knuckled.
Yeah, we were white knuckled. And the producers, you want to make them happy, so they keep coming up with, oh, it'd be great if we did this, and it'd be great if we did this. And you're like, ooh,
Manage
Can
expectations.
Can you walk a dog with a drone? We were like, not really.
No, that's not safe.
I'm like, well, how about you call the dog walking drone guy And they did. They find one. There was like a guy with the video who did the dog walking drone. So they had him on a show with us too. And the dog wasn't. They couldn't get the dog to walk. So it was funny. It was this like sad lab laying on the ground with a rope like attached to him, and it's like attached to this like rubber contraption on a DJI 550.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the dog just like looking around, what's going on here? Apparently in distress.
There's no way I can walk my dog.
We were like, no, we're not doing that. No, it's just too many in the studio with a lot of people around. You're like, no, you're just introducing too many
My
variables.
dog,
So
my dog will rip it out of the air
you got yeah.
and like bite it.
Well, but and that's fine. But like, what if the dog? So you're not in a full control of what happens with the drone. It's a little different if you are flying it. But you know what? You have all these people around the dog. He may see somebody who he sees friendly or whatever. Start running to them and pull the drone and drag the drone into somebody else. I don't know. No.
Not worth it.
So there are some things you just can say no to, and they'll find somebody who can do it if they can. That's fine. If they want to take the risk, that's okay with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else? We did the furniture stores. That was fun.
Yeah.
Jordan's, they have these virtual tours through the store. We're just literally doing these passes into operator through all the departments in their IMAX theater. When you're like flying, and they had these like nice shapes on the IMAX screen, so it kind of lit up the whole theater in these cool changing colors. And the only thing I can think of, I wonder if our insurance policy covers IMAX screens.
Oh man. Was it like the
High
full
stress? Great story.
the full
High
70 millimeter
anxiety.
one or whatever?
No, this was the Inspire.
No. The size of the screen.
Oh, it was. I never measured it in IMAX, but they're huge.
Wow.
My point is that it's always something, little stressful.
Yeah.
I think the most, and this one we did with Mike, actually, we did go-kart places where you got to follow go-karts, indoor go-karts on the
yes.
tracks.
NASCAR.
And NASCAR. That was one of the places here in Connecticut. Then the other one was down in Florida, the Andretti racing.
All right.
And there was Mike, dude, and I got to have him on this hopefully one day when he's not busy. He's busy between the kids and flying. We're
Right.
crazy now. But he's a great pilot. When we fly to operator, he flies, I swing the camera. That's what we're good at. And not that I'm not good at flying, but Mike's really good. We're good at working as a team that way. And that's important because you're introducing, all right, so there's one thing when you're flying indoors with stationary things, if it's couches and
Right.
chandeliers or in churches. But once you got to start tracking things that are moving pretty darn quick, flying, under low ceilings, in between all kinds of metal beams and all that, it's a whole different game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I just thought of the funny indoor
Yeah.
drone. It was my first one ever.
Yeah.
Same director as the wedding banquet hall.
Yeah.
But it was a music video inside a bar.
Yeah.
And so the artist was going to be walking across the bar, and I was just supposed to get some shots over the adjacent bar.
Uh-huh.
And so again, never flown inside. I had no like concept of prop wash yet, really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is how you learn on the go. Yeah. Yeah.
So there was, I want to say, like just a whole 2 foot by 2 foot thing of pint glasses upside down
Yeah.
on the bar, and I flew over them and I smashed every single one.
Prop wash is a very powerful thing. You don't realize that how
No.
many things can. Dude, we had like pillows flying off couches and stuff with the Inspire. I was like, what? The Inspire can do that?
Oh man!
Yeah,
Well, this was just
yeah.
with a Phantom 4.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think
yeah.
it was because the bar
it's got
top was
some-
so slick.
Yeah, it's got some weight to
you know?
it, and all it takes it's a powerful gust. Yeah. So back to the indoor go karts actually. So we practiced on a couple. Not practiced. There were shoots, but then we got to do the Andretti place down in Orlando, and it's Mario Andretti and his family. They build these arcade go-kart places. It's amazing. They're electric indoor go-karts. They're fast. The track is, I think, 1,000 meters, so 1 kilometer. There are two tracks.
Wow.
If they combine them, they're 1 kilometer, 3 different levels, all kinds of crazy
That's so
stuff,
cool. I gotta
elevation
get down
changes. Yeah, I never got to ride. We never got to ride, nor did Mike.
My
We
friend
gotta take
Tony
next
did.
time. We had to take. I know. Yeah, the people we did bring down here did, but dude, this was awesome because so we already kind of knew how to chase these things around from doing it here, and we in the planning they're like, oh yeah, it's our opening day, so the Andretti's are gonna be here and blah blah blah. So we're like, oh yeah, we may be able to wave at them or something. And dude, it was crazy. We're like with them, not the whole time of course, but the whole tour of the track. And then Mario and his family, there were like 5, 7 of those guys. They started riding the track, no helmets, no helmets.
Screw
And
helmets.
we're chasing them around with the Inspire. I'm like, don't give them haircuts. No, we weren't like directly over. We kept, in the lane over. So we
Yeah.
had these like the beams parallaxing in between or in front of them or just behind them. But it was so cool. It was so cool. Such a great experience. So
That's awesome.
The thing is, again, kind of high anxiety. A lot can happen. We've been well practiced from starting with the stationary shoots to chasing things outside to chasing things inside. It's something you progress to, and this was just an amazing experience for a shoot, for an indoor shoot with the Celebs. So we had a few indoors.
Yeah.
Yeah, little by little,
Well, and then there's all just when you learn
Yeah.
flying indoors, or when you first start flying a drone, you get something small, you're probably going to fly it indoors anyway.
Dude, I
In your living
flew-
room.
Yeah, we were flying Spark the other day in the studio, remember?
Yeah, and we blew Shin's fabric all over the place.
Yeah.
Even though it was like tiny little thing.
Yeah, but Spark is fun to fly indoors.
It's a lot of fun.
The camera's a little challenging. I wouldn't probably use it for any kind of professional work. Really. In a pinch,
said the man
maybe.
who just used the Spark for some professional work.
Really tight spaces. That's what I said. Unless you have some really tight spaces and there is no other way to make it happen, grab a few shots and see what happens. No, the jury is still out. You are right, but I still haven't edited that video, so I don't know what it's gonna look like. I know the one that we did in the studio. I just put it on a social media, and it's good. I did the DJI auto edit.
Oh, at
the
Lexus.
camera settings on a Spark are pretty much auto. You can do a little things
Mm-hmm.
to make it a little better indoors, but it's not much. It's an activity cam. It's like an iPhone cam that flies and has
Yeah.
a 2-axis gimbal. It's a lot of fun.
But
Yeah,
it's actually the Inspire 2 obstacle or the pilot cam.
yeah,
camera.
I know. Great use for them. Well, that's
great.
how they get them cheaper for all the Inspire 2 guys. They make
think
all
they
the
just-
Spark folks pay for
I
them.
think they just made too many of those, and they're like, "Oh, what do we do with these?"
No, that's how they make them cheaper.
Great idea.
I'm sure that's what was behind
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
You already have a camera sourced.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
So what other indoor shoots did you do?
I haven't done many. I think that. Well, actually, I did It wasn't a shoot. I was doing a drones 101 talk to a group of men somewhere in a room about this size.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. It was just, explaining what drones are and how I use them, essentially. It was just
Yeah.
like an educational thing.
Yeah.
And I flew the Inspire 2
Yeah.
in there, just had it hovering at about 6 feet.
Yeah. Cool.
That's the only other time.
Did you ever fly in a church?
Oh, man, I have a terrible memory. Yes. Yeah, I did a wedding.
A wedding?
Yeah.
Were there actually like people getting married in a church when you were flying the drone?
No, they wouldn't. I didn't even want to fly during the actual ceremony. It's just too loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I was gonna
echoey.
say.
This was a big Roman Catholic church
Yeah.
near Boston, so it's old.
Yeah.
It's like the acoustics were designed very well.
Yep.
So anyway, it had a big, giant, gold-plated roof or ceiling.
Yeah.
A dome up there. So I flew up there. It was all dusty, with the sun rays coming through. It looked really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was surprised the priest let me fly in there, actually.
Yeah. I don't know. Look at you. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Well, that's
We did a
was the
church
point.
shoot up at the Regis University in Denver.
oh
And,
really?
dude? It was so cool. So they wanted to do a shoot from outside in. So because the way the church was or is,
So you have to fly through the window
I'm
or
sure they
through the
still have
front
it.
door?
Well, their church or their chapel, it's their chapel, but it's big, and you literally have the main door is a big, like there's a couple two-part doors that were opened already, but then you come inside of the hall, and there is this like sliding round. The whole chapel is round, right? And there are these two huge sliding door blocks that actually have murals painted on the inside of
Wow.
them. So we need to get into they just open that, and that opens up the doors to the church. But then they close it, and that just encloses the thing with the murals. It's so cool.
No kidding.
Yeah. So the idea was we start outside, right? We go down the stairs, through that first door, through the hall. There'll be people on the other side. As we're flying, we'll give them a command, and they'll open the two doors, and they'll like reveal the church, fly into the church, down the aisle, and end up, just like a square on the altar, really, as far as we can get. Easy.
Hey.
And they're like, yeah, we like to do it during the mass. I'm like, no. I'm like, please, no. But I'm
I
like,
don't
how
think
about
Jesus would like that.
I'm like, how about this? Yeah. So no, they set up volunteers, extras. So they were having like a church talk, and they were like, so we had people and all that, but it wasn't an actual.
So you had a fake service, fake mass.
It wasn't fake. They were still like, it was still happening. So I don't know. I don't know if you
Interesting.
could have one of these fake just because it doesn't happen when you're scheduled.
Oh, Jesus is everywhere, man.
Well, to me, it was a drone experience.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was interesting. It was really interesting. I was a little nervous, I'm not going to say. I mean, you're not flying over people, and you're indoors anyway, but still, it's like, what can happen? Many things can.
Well, yeah, you could ruin like some really old,
Yeah.
icon
Yeah.
or something. It's like 200 years old, painted by monks.
We flew inside of a... Funny.
That's
Yeah.
for real, though.
Could. No, that's funny because you know what? A part of this particular shoot, the Regis we're flying inside of the dean's, the main admin building. So they have all the pictures of the former deans and all the priests who ran that. And the dean actually walked out of his office like, what is all this ruckus? And it was the nicest guy. They're Jesuits, right? So it's a Jesuit college. So it was so funny. The funniest guy. But they have all these old pictures of all his predecessors and all that. I'm like, oh, please don't let me rip one of these.
Yeah, no,
That would be
I
bad.
would feel really bad if I did that.
My airplane on the way back would probably get hit by lightning or something. Yeah, we tried flying a micro in a moving RV.
Ooh. Okay.
Just to see if the drone actually knows that the RV is moving or not. Get it in the air and then start moving the RV and see what happens. Uh-huh.
That's a good question.
I'm not gonna tell you what happened. Now you gotta try it.
I think I can decipher what would happen.
Would you? So okay, if you're in an RV, right? You have a small drone on a table inside of an RV. You take off with no VPS. You just take off. With
It hovers.
VPS, it hovers, and you start moving the RV. What happens?
It'll stay there. It'll hover.
It'll hover
In play. It'll relative to the movement of the van or the RV.
of the table.
Yeah, wherever it took off from. It's
Really?
yeah.
Would it? So what if you took the roof and the walls of the RV and left the furniture? Would it still do the same thing?
It would
If
if there was no interference from the wind coming from the no roof
All right,
situation.
I'll let you find out. I'm not gonna tell you what happened. I want these guys having fun finding out.
Yeah, you guys
it's a
find
cool-
out. Just
it's
don't
a fun
fly
experiment. I don't
while
wanna
you're driving
spoil
a
it.
car.
Well, no, have someone else drive it, or you can do it inside of a van with a micro. It's the same thing. And just see what happens.
I think it's I think it'll be fine.
All
It's my
right.
gut.
All right. Cool. Well, I think that about covers our indoor flying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we go really long on that?
I can come up. No, we're fine. It's all about indoor flying. So it's a good workflow. There was a lot of stories to tell. I think we gave some pretty good advice. If you guys would like to share your experiences or have any questions about any of that, you can leave them down in the comment section. Or if you're listening to the podcast, just hit the link in the show notes. Go to our blog page and leave your comments right there.